Shalom. I want to start out by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Kol Halo Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. I just want to point out certain things about Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel. They're in bed with Saudi Arabia and the United States of America. They know full well that the United States of America funds terrorism. So do they. They aid terrorism. That's why they treat them in their hospitals and tunnel them back into Syria. Speaking of humanitarian reasons, Israel, they're more communist than fascist. They're more communist and fascist than they are democratic, excuse me. They do ethnic cleansing. They're constantly moving Palestinians out of their own land. Gaza, they're treated like animals. They have no water. They throw diapers and garbage at them, treat them like animals. Everyone in the international world says Gaza is like a open air prison. They incite violence. And when you do get an occasional rocket launch, from the Palestinians that never kills anybody, Israel will just start bombing children on beaches and schools, and they get away with it. So I suggest that the United States of America should start overthrowing Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. All right, because that's criminal. All right, and Saudi Arabia too, because they, if someone's being accused of being a witch, they'll stone them in public and kill them. Saudi Arabia is the most oppressive country on the planet right now. So we should overthrow Saudi Arabia too right now. But instead, we're aiding Saudi Arabia in genocide in Yemen. And instead of getting at Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, we're funding them and giving them weapons. Because they're a political tool, because this is supposed to be a God-fearing country, and we have to defend Israel, because it's the only democracy out there. But in fact, it's more communist and fascist than democracy. All right, the Palestinians there have no rights, none. But you need Israel there so that way you could have a reason to go and overthrow governments and take their resources. And it's good to have Israel there because we fund them weapons. So it's basically like we have weapons there. All right, so... And plus, Iran, Russia, everyone in the international world knows about Project Timber Sycamore, how we fund terrorism. All right, if they suit our interests, we call them freedom fighters. If they're not suiting our interests, we have to start calling them Al-Qaeda and ISIS. We created ISIS. The only reason why Russia is in Syria really is for regional reasons, because every time United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia want to overthrow a government, there's an uptick in terrorism too, and it's too close to home for Russia and Iran, okay? That's why there's so many refugees in Europe, which turn to terrorism, all right? Like in the United Kingdom, Britain, your government doesn't care about you too, by the way. So I'm going to just read this. There's a price to be paid for threatening Israel. Defense Minister warns Iran as tensions flare. All right. Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman cautioned Iran that there is a price to be paid for jeopardizing Israeli security. In April, Tehran slammed Israel for hitting a Syrian airbase, reportedly killing 7 Iranians. All right. Now, Syria, according to the United Nations, is a legitimate government. All right? Iran was invited there by a legitimate government to help them fight terrorists. So that was an act of war and illegal by Israel. That's a war crime. All right? In fact, every other country should start invading the United States of America because we want to talk about chemical weapons. United States of America uses depleted uranium warheads in Iraq. All right? That's a war crime. So every other country should start invading the United States of America. Those who threaten Israel need to understand there is a price to be paid, Lieberman said on Sunday, speaking to Khan, Israeli public radio. The state of Israel is acting out of a lack of choice, and in today's situation, we have no other choice. Why? Because everyone knows about Project Sycamore, how you guys aid terrorism and overthrow illegal governments. And what the United States of America did to Syria actually strengthened and emboldened Syria. all right, and Iran. They've been planning to make war with Iran for actually some time now, I found out, because you can't have a nation like Iran exist in the Middle East when you want to overthrow governments and take their resources, because Iran is the main stabilizer in the entire Middle East. So they've actually been planning to war with Iran for a minute. Crazy. Tensions between Iran and Israel flared following an airstrike on Syria's T4 airbase in Homs province on April 8th. Iran and the Russian military accused Israel of being behind the attack, which, according to Iranian news agencies, claimed the lives of 7 of its military personnel. Illegal war crime. The attack was a blatant violation of international law. That's a war crime, which would strengthen terrorists. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Bahram Qassami said at the time, the Israeli regime's aggression against Syria is a breach of the country's national sovereignty and territorial integrity and contradicts all international regulations and principles. War crime. Israel did not initially comment on the attack. Later, however, a senior Israeli official told a New York Times columnist that Tel Aviv was behind the strike. And I read another article that Israel claimed responsibility for the attack. The attack was the first reported incident of the kind since February, when the IDF struck the same military site after it claimed that an Iranian drone had crossed into Israeli airspace from Syria. In line with Israel's narrative that Iran is trying to establish a serious military presence in Syria, the Israeli defense minister said that we will not allow for Syria to become a military base for Iran. Okay, again, Iran is a legitimate government. Syria is a legitimate government. Iran is a member of the United Nations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also warned on Friday that the IDF will not shy away from action against those who threaten our security, just like you killing 7 Iranians. War crime. Hossein Salami, the second in command of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, responded that Israel should not trust its air bases as they are within range of our fire. The latest escalation in rhetoric follows the statement by Iranian President Hassan Rouhani on Saturday that Iran's atomic agency was ready with expected and unexpected reactions if Washington ditches the 2015 nuclear deal, as U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to do. What they're trying to do is weaken Iran because they plan to go to war with Iran. The deadline for the U.S. leader to sign a waiver to extend the deal is May 12th. And this is all facts when I'm telling you. The 2015 landmark nuclear accord was signed by the U.S., Britain, France, Germany, China, Russia, lifting economic sanctions against Iran in exchange for limitations on its nuclear program. While Trump has slammed the nuclear agreement on numerous occasions, describing it as the worst deal ever negotiated, the International Atomic Energy Agency has repeatedly stated that all nuclear-related commitments undertaken by Iran under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action have been implemented. Tehran has developed a range of options if the U.S. decides to scrap the deal, Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif told CBS Face the Nation in an interview. We have put a number of options for ourselves, and those options are ready, Zarif said, adding that the options include resuming at a much greater speed our nuclear activities. Obviously, the rest of the world cannot ask us to unilaterally and one-sidedly implement a deal that has already been broken, he said. And they're right. So I just want to point out all the facts are against Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States of America. They're all guilty of war crimes. Just ridiculous, all right? Which, might I add, again, this Syria conflict, it's imminent that the United States of America and Russia will face each other, and there will be World War III as a result of it. We're in the midst of World War III right now. All right, so Jeremiah 49:7. Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts. Edom is America, the United States of America. Is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? All right, what the United States of America tried to do to Syria actually failed, and Syria became stronger as a result of it. All right, and it ended up bringing Iran and Russia in. All right. Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare, Okay, the United States of America. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, Saudi Arabia, the land of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and he is not. Okay, ultimately, the Syrian conflict is the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of Jehoshaphat mentioned in the Bible. This thing is leading to World War III. We're in the midst of World War III right now. War with Russia and the United States of America is certain. It's all happening right now, and the nations are being gathered. All right, this is happening according to all these articles, and it's happening at this very moment. So with that, I'm going to say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Kol Halal Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Double honors, apostle, elders, a great millstone, who are the holy apostles and prophets mentioned in the book of Revelation. Bless the Akim that are pushing more in truth, sincerity, and to all you men of great millstone, I say, Barakatam, Bahasham Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Waha, Racha, Quadash, and Shalom. Again, everything I mentioned is facts. You know, the United States of America is guilty of war crimes with its depleted uranium warheads, and America is certainly going to be destroyed via nuclear destruction. Israel is guilty of ethnic cleansing and bombing children on beaches and in schools. In fact, Saudi Arabia funds terrorism, and we support Saudi Arabia as well as Israel. They're all in bed with each other. They're all guilty of war crimes. It's a fact. Anyways, shalom.